Indiana Fever guard Kelsey Mitchell has been sizzling offensively lately. She's in the midst of the best stretch of her career and perhaps the best scoring streak for a guard in the entire WNBA this season. She's combined her hot three-point shooting with effective driving and an ability to get her shot off with very little space. It's led to the Indiana Fever posting one of the best records in the league out of the break, and the duo of Mitchell and Caitlin Clark becoming arguably the WNBA's top backcourt. How has Mitchell gotten it done? Let's take a closer look. But before we do so, it's important to note that Kelsey Mitchell has been performing at an elite level for a long time. Her lighting up the scoreboard isn't new. In fact, you can go back to her second season, when she hit a WNBA record 9 threes in a game, a record that still stands. She went for 38 points against the Connecticut Sun that afternoon, a mark that is still her career high in scoring. In the 2020 Wubble season, she elevated herself from good shooter to elite scorer. Mitchell finished that season scoring 18 points per game, which ranks 7th in the WNBA in scoring, and she hasn't looked back since. In fact, she's been one of the most consistent top scorers in the WNBA over the last half-decade. She averaged 18 points per game in 2020, 18 points per game in 2021, 18 points per game in 2022, and yes, 18 points per game in 2023, keeping her elite three-point shooting up every step of the way, despite seeing a constant array of double and at times triple teams from opposing defenses. Coming into 2024, Mitchell had finished in the top 10 in scoring each of the previous 4 seasons, but 2024 would look remarkably different than any previous season she had entered, for good and for bad. The good, of course, the highly anticipated arrival of Caitlin Clark, but Mitchell, for the first time in her career, was entering a season not fully healthy, which was extremely rare for her. She has missed just 5 games in the 7 seasons of her career. She's been an Iron Woman for Indiana, playing in 98% of possible games in her career. And while she didn't miss any time starting 2024, she wasn't 100% either, and got virtually no training camp time. Couple that with a brand new Fever roster, playing a different style, it was perhaps the most challenging start to a season of Kelsey Mitchell's career. And then, she did what Kelsey Mitchell does. She took off. Mitchell shot 40% from 3 over the final 15 games going into the Olympic break. Scoring, you guessed it, 18 points per game. Behind rising play from Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston II, the Fever went 9-6 over those final 15 games and turned around the team's difficult start in a flash, leaving optimism for what might happen out of the Olympic break. And out of that Olympic break, Kelsey Mitchell absolutely exploded at a level neither she nor the Fever franchise has ever seen. It started with a 28-point performance against the Phoenix Mercury, where she knocked down 6 threes, and she was just getting going. Mitchell would score at least 20 points in each of the first 7 games out of the Olympic break, smashing the previous franchise record of 4 consecutive 20-point games. That 20-point streak ended with an 18-point performance in a win over Los Angeles, in which she promptly followed up with 23 the next game and 21 after that. And out of the Olympic break, Kelsey Mitchell has been the top scorer in the entire Eastern Conference. Let's look at all the ways she's gotten it done, starting with her straight-line speed and running style, as Debbie Antonelli describes best.
I say it every time I have a Kelsey Mitchell game. Shoulder pads, over the thigh pads, like a running back, through the offensive line. She plays the game low to high.
As her chemistry with Caitlin Clark has developed, Kelsey has learned to use that top-notch speed to run the floor, knowing Clark will reward her. As the chemistry between Mitchell and Clark grows, you're seeing it pay off in major ways for both. Mitchell is finding more room to roam, and is intelligently picking her spots where Clark can find her. This has led to more open threes than Mitchell has ever had in her entire career, and Mitchell is cashing in, and Clark's assist numbers continue to rise. But of course, her bread and butter her entire career has been that three-point shot, and she's been lethal with it lately, shooting well over the 40% marker, which designates elite three-point shooting. While she's getting more open shots this year, she doesn't always need to be open. One aspect that makes her such a weapon on the perimeter, she can get that three-point shot off with very little space. According to Second Spectrum, she ranks 5th in the WNBA in three-point percentage when heavily defended. You can be smothering her defensively, and she still has the confidence and shot-making ability to rise up and knock down the shots. But guard her too closely, and she'll make you pay for that too. According to Synergy, Mitchell is the most efficient guard in the entire WNBA on backdoor cuts. Smother her at the three-point line, she'll simply beat you to the rim. But she's far from one-dimensional. She's been excellent at the three-point line, very good at the rim, but she's been strong in the mid-range too. In fact, her 52% on two-point attempts is a career best. And with the regular season winding down, she's almost assuredly going to finish the year scoring the most points per game she has in her entire career, shooting the most efficiently she has in her entire career. One of the WNBA's best guards year in and year out has just gotten better in 2024.